Good morning to all. This is Anil Kumar Reddy. In this video, we are going to discuss super mesh, super node, as well as source transformation and star delta transformation. Okay, so this video will give you an idea about special cases of super node and super mesh analysis. Okay, now let us start the video. Here you can see the super mesh and super node analysis. So first we will be looking into super mesh analysis. So in this example, you have to find all the mesh currents. So when you look into the circuit diagram, in normal mesh analysis, there will be no current source present in the circuit diagram. But now you have a current source here that is in between two loops. So in between the loops I1 and I2. Therefore, if you want to apply KVL in loop 2 or loop 3 separately, you cannot apply. Okay. Therefore, you have to assume that this loop 1 and loop 2 are the same loops, which means you have to merge them into a single loop, and we call it as a, two meshes are merged together, so you call it as a super mesh analysis. Okay, you call it as, if you merge two meshes or three meshes together, then you call it as a super mesh. Therefore, in this example, we have normal mesh for mesh 1. So mesh 1 is a normal mesh, but for mesh 2, we are merging I2 and I3 meshes. Therefore, we call it as a super mesh. So we will get each equation for one mesh. Therefore, for normal mesh, we will get one equation, and for super mesh, we will get one equation. Now let us start doing it. So I think you know already how to apply mesh analysis. Procedure is same. First you have to identify number of meshes, then you have to assign mesh currents for each mesh, then you have to apply KVL for each mesh, and also you have to apply Ohm's law. After getting all the equations, you have to solve. So that is the method. Method will not change, but here we are going to take a new step. That is, okay, first I will write KVL equation for mesh 1. So as I told you already, mesh 1 is a normal mesh, so you don't have to worry about it. We are taking all clockwise currents. As you can see, I1, I2 and I3. All the three are clockwise currents that are taken. Okay. So you have to write, I1 is entering negative terminal of 2 volts now, therefore minus 2. Next, current will enter here. I1 current will enter here. Therefore, you'll have to take it as positive, and here it is negative. Therefore, voltage drop across 1 ohm resistor is resistance into current. Resistance is 1 ohm and current is I1. Therefore, 1 into I1. Then current will enter this 10 ohm resistor. So therefore you have to take plus and here minus. But you have to remember that also I2 current is flowing in the same resistor. Therefore you have to take resultant current. So the resultant current in 10 ohm resistor is given by I1 minus I2 because we are applying KVL at mesh 1. So we will assume that I1 current is greater than I2 and I3. Therefore, the resultant current flowing through 10 ohm resistor is I1 minus I2. Therefore, voltage drop across 10 ohm resistor is resistance into current. So resistance is 10 ohms and current is I1 minus I2. Now it completes the loop. Therefore, we will be equating it to 0 as you can see on the screen. So next, what we will do is we will try to simplify the equation. So if you simplify, 1 I1 plus 10 I1, that will give you 11 I1. Okay. Next, minus 10 I2 equal to 2. And because this 2 has been written on right hand side, therefore you will get plus 2. So that will be taken as equation 1. Now, what we will do is, as I told you already, because of the presence of current source in between two meshes, we cannot apply KVL for each mesh separately. Okay, that is, we cannot apply KVL for I2 loop and we cannot apply KVL for I3 loop. Therefore, what we are going to do is, we are going to merge these two loops into a single loop or single mesh. So we call it as a super mesh. And we will write a super mesh equation like this. Just look into the screen. Here, current will start flowing like this. So while you are applying KVL, you have to follow this direction. Okay. Therefore, let us apply. So this is the super mesh equation. Let me tell you how I have applied it. So here current I2 is entering 10 ohm resistor. Therefore, here it is positive and here it is negative. But I1 current is also flowing now, and you have an assumption that whenever you are applying KVL at mesh 2, you have to assume that I2 current is greater than I1 current. Therefore, you have to write the voltage drop across 10 ohm resistor. That is resistance into current. Resistance is 10 and current is I2 minus I1. Next, current will enter 5 ohm resistor. Therefore, 5 into I2. And you are not, you have already merged these two meshes now. Therefore, you have to go in this path. Okay, you cannot go to the current source. Just think that there is no current source there. Okay, we will try to assume that there is no current source so that we can merge these two meshes. So once we have merged these two meshes, we call it as super mesh. Okay. Therefore, when the current is entering here it is positive and here it is minus. Therefore, voltage drop across 15 ohm resistor is resistance into current. Resistance is 15 and current is I3. That will be equal to 0. And now current will be again entering plus 10 ohm resistor. Now the cycle is completed, so that we have completed the super mesh equation. Now the thing is, you have to simplify the super mesh equation and you will get this minus 10 I1 plus 15 I2 plus 15 I3 equal to 0. So that will be equation 2. So in order to solve these two equations, we need additional equation, because for normal mesh 1, we have already written equation 1. For super mesh, we have already written equation 2. We don't have any other meshes to write the equation 3. Therefore, what we will do is, we will try to use a circuit diagram for writing equation 3. You can see here, current source is connected between two meshes. Therefore, and its value also direction is given now. So if you look into the diagram carefully, I1 current is in the same direction of, I2 current is in the same direction of 4 amperes, and I2 current, I3 current is in the same direction, in the opposite direction of 4 amperes. So I3 is flowing in this way and I2 is flowing in opposite direction. And therefore, because the given source direction is equal to I2 direction, we will write the resultant current or current through the current source is I2 minus I3, and that will be equal to 4. Okay. So that is how we will get the third equation. Okay. Therefore, so the additional equation from the circuit diagram, you have to look into the current source and you have to look into its value as well as direction. So here in this diagram, I2 current is in the same direction of given direction of current, and I3 is opposite to 4 amperes. Therefore, you can conclude that I2 minus I3 equal to 4 amperes. Okay, therefore that additional equation can be written like this: I2 minus I3 is equal to 4. That will be taken as equation 3. Now we have three number of unknowns. Unknowns means we don't know its value. I1 we don't know, I2 we don't know, I3 we don't know. Okay, therefore three unknowns and we got three equations. So definitely you can solve. Therefore after solving these three equations, you will get I1 current as 2.86 amperes, I2 current as 2.95 amperes, and I3 current as 1.04 amperes. So this is how you have to solve when the current source is present in the diagram. See, you have to understand that if there are more number of voltage sources in a circuit, it is easy to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law, or you can say mesh analysis. Suppose if a circuit diagram has two voltage sources and one current source, and that current source is present in between two meshes, then you have to apply super mesh. That you need to remember. Okay. Next, we will be looking into super node analysis. Okay. Here in this problem, you have to find nodal voltages. As I told you, as I told you, nodal analysis. Super node is a small difference between node and a super node. If you remember super mesh analysis, we have merged two meshes into a single mesh and we call it as a super mesh. In this context, super node means we will try to assume that two or three nodes are two or three nodes as a single node and we call it as a super node. Okay. Why we are taking super node means if there is a presence of voltage source in the diagram and remaining all are current sources, you cannot write KCL equation. So for that purpose, we will assume that the nodes that are connected with a voltage source, we will take those two nodes as a single node. So we are taking two nodes as a single node now, therefore we call it as a super node. And this analysis is super node analysis, but the procedure is same, there is no change. First we need to identify number of nodes and you have to assign node voltage for each node. Then you have to apply KCL at each node. Then you have to apply Ohm's law. After getting the equations, you have to solve. The procedure will not change. Here, if you can see V1 is a normal node because there is no voltage source connected to the node V1. Therefore, we can write KCL at node V1 normally. Okay. So applying KCL at node V1. So this will be the equation. That is minus of minus 3 plus V1 minus V3 by 4. Okay. And V1 minus V2 by 3. V1 minus V2 by 3 and minus of minus 8 because 8 amperes is entering the node. Therefore, minus of minus 8 equal to 0. So that will be the equation at node V1. Okay. And now you have to mathematically simplify this equation. So this is the mathematical simplification. As I told you already how to do it. V1 by 4 is 0.25 V1. V1 by 3 is 0.33 V1. So 0.25 plus 0.33 will give you 0.58 V1. Next, minus V2 by 3. Minus V2 by 3 is here. So minus V2 by 3. So that will give you minus 0.33 V2. Similarly, minus V3 by 4 means minus 0.25 V3 equal to, here it is plus 3, here it is plus 8. If you write on the right hand side, then it will give you minus 11. So that is how you have to simplify and write the equation. This is so important. If you do like this, then you will be most of the times you will be avoiding mistakes. Okay, if you write like this. If you don't write like this, then you have a chance of making mistakes. Okay. So let us take this as equation 1. Now I already told you that if you want to apply KCL at node V2, then you have to know the resistance of this given source. You don't know the resistance. Therefore, you cannot write KVL. Okay, sorry, KCL. You cannot write KCL. So if you cannot write KCL, you cannot solve this problem. So for that purpose, what we will do is the nodes that are connected with a voltage source are taken as a single node. Treat this as a single node. Okay, so you call it as a super node. And how many branches are connected to super node? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 branches that are connected to the super node. Now what we will do is we will try to apply super node. We will try to apply KCL at the super node. Okay. So this is how you have to write. So here KCL at node 2 means node 2 in the sense super node. I am talking about super node. Okay. So what we will do is we are treating this as a single node. Therefore, we will take this as node 2. V2 and V3 as a single node. We call it as a super node. There you have to apply KCL. How to apply KCL? Let us start here. Minus 3 amperes is leaving now. Therefore, we will take it as minus 3 amperes is leaving now. Therefore, we will write plus of minus 3. And then V2 minus V2 minus 0, that is reference node, by 1, that is one term. Next, V2 minus V1, V2 minus V1 by 3. So V2 minus V1 by 3. Next, V3 minus. So now with V2 all the terms are written. Now come to V3. V3 means V3 minus V1 by 4. So V3 minus V1 by 4. Next, V3 minus 0 by 5. And minus 25 amperes is leaving node V3, no? Therefore, you have to write plus of minus 25. So this equation is called super node equation because we have written KCL at super node. Therefore, this equation is called super node equation. Okay. Now, we have to mathematically simplify this. I think you know already how to mathematically simplify this equation. Here you can see. So first I will try to write V1 term. So minus V1 by 3 minus V1 by 4. So 0.33 plus 0.25, that will give you minus 0.58 V1. Okay. Next, we will be looking into term V2. So V2 by 1, here V2 by 3. So that will give you 1.33 V2. Okay, 1.33 V2. Next thing is you have to write V3 terms. V3 means here you can see V3 by 4. V3 by 4 means 0.25 V3 plus V3 by 5 means 0.2 V3. So 0.2 plus 0.25, that will give you 0.45 V3. So after mathematical simplification, then you have to write the constant term on right side. Here it is minus 3 and here it is minus 25. That will give you minus 28. When you write it on right hand side, that will give you plus 28. So this is the other equation. We will take this as equation 2. So the number of unknowns in this problem are 3. So you don't know V1, you don't know V2, and also you don't know V3. But the number of equations we got are only 2 because one KCL is applied at node V1 in a normal way, but we have merged V2 and V3 and we considered it as a single node. We call it as super node and we have written one super node equation there. Therefore, we don't have any other nodes present in the diagram to write the KCL equation. The number of unknowns are 3, but the number of equations are only 2. You cannot solve. So for additional equation, you have to again look into the circuit diagram. So what you have to do is, as you have already assumed that V2 and V3 are same node. Now, when you carefully look into the diagram, here a voltage source is connected between V2 and V3 and its value is 22 plus 22 volts. And plus is on V3 side, minus is on V2 side. So what you can decide from this diagram is, see here, so you can write V3 means plus V3 minus V2 plus V3 minus V2 and that will be equal to 22. Okay, equal to 20. So that is the additional equation you can write. Therefore, this is the third equation. You can take this as a third equation. Okay. So from the diagram itself, you can take a third equation. V3 minus V2 equal to 22. That will be equation 3. Now, when you solve equation 1, equation 2 as well as equation 3, then we will get this answer. So V1 means voltage at node V1 is voltage at node V1 is 1.01 volts, voltage at node V2 is 10.5 volts, and voltage at node V3 is 32.5 volts. So this is how you have to apply super node analysis. So we have a brief idea about mesh, super mesh, and node and super node analysis. So this is how you can solve any kind of problem using super node analysis. So whenever if more number of current sources are present in the circuit diagram, then you have to opt for nodal analysis. Suppose if there is a single voltage source present in that diagram, then you have to opt for super node analysis. Okay, so this is how you can solve any problem using mesh, super mesh, also node and super node analysis. Now next we will be looking into the topic called source transformation. Sometimes in order to get the answer in a faster way, you need to apply source transformation technique. So that will simplify the circuit diagram so that you can apply mesh or super node analysis or nodal analysis in a simple way. Okay. Now you can see here in this example, source transformation means we know what is a source. Source means it is an active element which is capable of supplying energy. Okay, that is source. So whenever you are having different types of sources. In this context we will not talk about dependent sources. I'm talking about only independent sources. So independent sources are of two types: voltage source and current source. Also, you cannot take ideal voltage source and ideal current source because they are not practically realizable. So now what we will do is we will take only practical voltage source and a practical current source. We will try to transform them. Means a practical voltage source can be transformed into a practical current source, or a practical current source can be transformed into a practical voltage source. Using Ohm's law, simple. You are using just Ohm's law. In this example, I will explain you how to transform. First, I will try to explain you how to transform a voltage source into a current source. Here, for a voltage source, some voltage is given along with polarity. Okay, so voltage is 120 volts and also internal resistance is given, that is 6 ohms. Using Ohm's law, you can find the current I is equal to V by R. V by R means 120 by 6, that will give you 20. Okay. So you can write 20 amp current source. Instead of series, you have to make this resistor parallel. That's it. That is the source transformation, particularly voltage source to current source. So you have to remember V is equal to IR, Ohm's law. Therefore 120 by 6, that will give you 20 amperes of current. 20 amperes in parallel with 6 ohm resistor will be the equivalent current source of this given voltage source. So this is called source transformation. Okay. Now we will be looking into current to voltage source transformation. Here you can see 40 ampere source is given, and one more thing I want to say, here the plus is on the top now, therefore the direction will be from bottom to top here. Okay, based on the polarity you have to make the direction. Okay, and now we will be looking into source transformation from current source to voltage source. So how to transform a current source into a voltage source? As you can see here, 40 amperes is the value of the current, and the direction also given here, and 0.80 ohms is the internal resistance of the current source, practical current source. Again, using Ohm's law, you can write voltage V is equal to I into R. So current is 40, I means current, that is 40, and resistance means R. Resistance is 0.80. 0.80 into 40, that will give you 32 volts. 32 volts. Therefore, you are representing a voltage source now after conversion. Therefore, in series, you have to write the resistance value. And here, the direction of current is from top to bottom now. The arrowhead is on the bottom. Therefore, you have to place positive on bottom side. That's it. And negative in opposite. So this is called source transformation. This source transformation will give you a better, what I can say, better idea or easy way to solve all the problems that you encounter in your syllabus. Okay. Now we will be looking into the other topic, that is star delta transformation, star to delta or delta to star transformation. So apart from series and parallel connection of networks, we will have different connections. They are called as delta connection or pi connection, and star connection or Y connection, or you can say T connection. Okay. So here in this diagram, you can see here, this is a delta network. It is in the form of delta. Therefore, we call it as a delta network. Suppose if you have a delta network, you want to transform it into a star, then you have to virtually think that there is a star that is fitted inside the delta network. So in order to write the value of this star to convert, so what we are doing is we are converting a delta into star. What is the use of conversion? So in some cases, we may have to find the resistance, equivalent resistance. In that case, if the circuit is not in series or not in parallel, we cannot find the resistance. In that case, we will use source, star delta transformations, okay, in order to find the equivalent resistance. Okay. So here, let us take this as RAB. So for example, if you want to convert this delta into a star and you have named it as RA, so here you can see RA. RA is equal to, what you have to do is RAB into RAC. Okay, RAB into RAC divided by RAB plus RAB plus RAC plus RBC. That you have to write. Then that will give you RA. Similarly, you can find the value of RB and RC. Okay, that is delta to star conversion. And coming to star to delta conversion, if you want to convert a star into delta, first you need to assume that there is a delta that is fitted outside the star network. Okay, suppose if you call this as RAC or you call this as RAB, okay, you call this as RAB. You want to find the value of RAB resistance. RAB is equal to, why I am calling it as RAB? Because here it is A and here it is B. Therefore, we call it as RAB. So, if you want to write RAB, then you have to remember this formula: RA RB plus RA RC plus RB RC by RC. RC means opposite to A and B. That's it. So if you can remember these formulas, you can easily transform a star connection into a delta or a delta connection into a star. Let us take an example. In this example, what we have to do is a star connection is given. We have to convert this star into a delta. So first, what we will do is following the same, what I can say, following the same formulas, you have to assume that, let us take this as a resistor and you have to find this resistance value. So let us take this as A and this as B and this as C. Assume. Okay. If you assume like that, then RAB is equal to RA into RB plus RBRC plus RCRA by opposite, that is RC. So if you write like this, then you will get the answer, that is RAB is equal to 9.6 ohms. In a similar fashion, you can find the values of RBC. Okay, so RBC is 7.88 and RBA as 1.18 ohms. So that is how you can find the values of a delta network from the given star network. So using the same formulas or reverse formulas, you can find the values of that the star network when the delta is given. So this is how you have to understand star delta conversion. So with this, we have completed the first unit. So in from the next unit, we will be looking into two-port networks. Okay. Remember, these are the basics. What I have told you is the very basic things. You have to apply these basics to as many problems as you can. Then only you can understand the concept better. Okay. So this is the end of the first unit, and from next video we will be looking into second unit. Okay. Thank you.